Karen Greenberg is the director of the Centre on National Security at Fordham University School of Law. She joins me now from New York. Thanks for joining us live on Al Jazeera, ma'am. Let's just begin with what Sally Yates has had to say. She's been very clear. She hasn't minced her words about the warning she gave to the Oval Office. I mean, how damaging are her comments?
Well, she was actually very careful about what she said, as Jim Comey did, the director of the FBI, when he was questioned. Similarly, she said most of what they asked she could not comment on because it was classified information. But she made it very clear that she had met at the White House on 2 occasions, 2 consecutive days, with the general counsel of the White House, and that she had talked about the underlying conduct that concerned her in terms of the National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn. And so she wasn't clear about the details. She was clear about her unwavering sense that she needed to let the White House know that he was in a position where she felt he could be blackmailed by the Russians. And that was those were her words, and that was her main concern.
She also sort of was very clear about the campaign, and when asked, do you believe the Trump campaign colluded with the Russians, her response was she couldn't answer that. How difficult for our international viewers is it to understand what Miss Yates can and cannot say in hearings like this?
Well, she can't say anything that would reveal any sort of classified information. And that means information that only people with clearances at the top levels of government, for the most part, have. And that has to do with people, places, events, facts. And so she can't reveal any of that. So therefore, she couldn't answer questions like, do you think that he violated the following law? Do you think that, he's in trouble because of certain things? She couldn't answer anything that would reveal facts. And, whether you're in the United States or elsewhere, this is a completely frustrating set of incidences to see where there's just question after question where the answer is, I'm sorry, but I can't answer that.
One of the really
that's where she left it.
Sorry to interrupt, Ms. Greenberg, but one of the really interesting, you might say, statements that Ms. Yates had to say was really about sort of the depth of the investigation and the scope of the investigation, which seems to suggest that the actual investigation on Michael Flynn is a lot more complicated and a lot more broader than just this one or few incidents over his talks and meetings with the Russian ambassador, and therefore the skeptics on both sides of the party, both sides of the political spectrum, will want more details about this.
Well, she was accompanied at this hearing by James Clapper, who, is a well-known figure in the United States, in the intelligence community, had been director of national intelligence, and is not somebody noted for necessarily civil liberties issues or many of the issues that came up today. He was on message with her that they really suspect that something serious about the Russians and Russian involvement had been going on. And on a number of occasions, both of them said, look, we can't talk about this in the open, but we could talk about it in closed session. In other words, in a session where people who were there had some kind of clearances and could hear classified information. And they referred to this repeatedly. Yeah. So we really don't know about the scope of it. They were asked on a number of occasions, is this Trump? Is it his associates? Is it Flynn? But they did not get specific about anything. So stay tuned, because a number of the individuals today asked for some kind of independent commission that would be bipartisan or nonpartisan, and that would be able to look at this and have access to the information that the public could not have access to today.
Well, we'll see what does happen. For the moment, Karen Greenberg, thanks so much for joining us from New York.